Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Today on Go Island, conversation with Mayor John Ruttan, Colliery Dam update, mines underfoot, and the deep green sea. Today on Go Island, what kind of life can you find in the Emerald Sea? And does Kate stump the boys in a new episode of Clocked? At City Hall, doing a recap from Monday night's council meeting. Things that came up, a $3 million surplus. Where did it come from and what it's going to be used for?
Well, remember, cities can't operate on a deficit basis, unlike the province and unlike the federal government. We have to have a balanced budget, and we do, and sometimes in the budget process it happens that surpluses are created, and that's a benefit. It's not unlike saving money at home. So the purpose for it can be many. One of the big issues that's looming over us, the RCMP are now appealing a ruling dealing with overtime. This could have huge repercussions for the city of Nanaimo. If there is a chance that it's going to be upheld, then the appeal, that is, then we could be facing a very large financial increase, and we need reserves for that. Also, there's other purposes. The money came from different sources. Some of it will be put into the land reserve for future purchase of parks and other spaces that we need. So the money's always used, and you know, the other option is to have a $3 million shortfall, and that would be much worse. Much worse. It would be. We'll discuss more of the topics that came up, like Colliery Dam and mines underfoot, later on. But I understand, I learned something new, John, that you are a recreational diver. Mm. Shore diving or boat diving? All of it. Mm. Yeah, I even did aircraft diving when we flew up the west coast years ago and landed in the surf and went did a commercial dive for some equipment up there off Zabalas. So yeah, I've been diving for well over 35 years now, and seen a lot of it, seen most of it. Any favorite shore diving places that you'd wish to share with our viewers today? Well, there's a number of great spots. You know, Arbutus Point used to be an excellent one. There's some very good shore dives much closer to Nanaimo, around Neck Point Park. Very popular site as well. But diving is a great sport, and you know, it's never the same every time you go out. And I think one incident I can recall, I was off Winchelsea Islands maybe 25 years ago, diving with a couple of friends, and this large octopus rumbled out of a cave and made some gestures towards grabbing one of the divers that was trying to take a picture. So I swam behind the octopus, and just to see, it seemed surprisingly aggressive, and the thing turned around and immediately grabbed me and hung on. You know, that's not overly concerning, but you know, one of the legs came down between my regulator hose, and you're sort of trying to hang on to the regulator. Breathing underwater at that time is critical, so it's all fun. And you know, they're not really dangerous, but they're very large. Pacific Coast, North Pacific octopus goes up to about 200 pounds. There's a lot of them around too. In the story that I just did this past weekend, I met with some people who are enthusiastic shore divers, and they go to a favorite place just off Nanoose Bay. At last night's council meeting, there was a lot of talk about Colliery Dam. A new report is out. What do we need to know about that report? Well, the report actually isn't out right yet. They're still working on it. We've got a coalition of interested parties in it, and it's worked very well indeed. The Colliery Dam Preservation Society, SFN, Nanaimo First Nations, and certainly our senior staff, the provinces involved through the Dam Safety Branch. They're all looking at ways to remediate the dams and make them safe again. I hear that the dam's not in as bad a shape as we thought. Is that the... Well, that's our understanding, but we haven't seen the report, and we're waiting to have the final one. Golder and Associates, which are the engineers looking at it, are going to get the report to us, we understand, by the end of April, perhaps the first week of May, and then we'll know exactly what we have to deal with, what the costs are, and how to proceed. All right. People can always check all that information out on the city's website. We'll be back after this break. Still to come, getting up close and personal with marine life in the Salish Sea. And Todd and Derek try to solve another clocked riddle. Did you know that
Cameron Lake is on the way out to Cathedral Grove, and that many people think that there is a Cameron Lake monster. Cami is about 30 pounds and up to 3 meters in length, so watch for her.
Did you know the Salish Sea is a collective term that encompasses 3 bodies of water, the Strait of Georgia, Strait of Juan de Fuca, and Puget Sound? Now, talking about the sea, and we learned today that Mayor John Ruttan is a diver, and you were telling us about a strange encounter you had with a very large and slippery beast?
Slippery beast, a very big, large, slippery octopus. And it was a lot of fun off Winchelsea Island, and yeah, they can be very large. The largest species of octopus in the world are in the Puget Sound right up to the Gulf of Alaska. So big means really big. So it's fun.
It's fun. Now, I know that divers can often have encounters with seals, with sea lions. I learned that in this past weekend. They're very curious. And I also heard that eels can be very curious and playful. Is that true?
Well, wolf eels in particular, the ones around here, they go up to 8 feet in length, and their favorite food is urchins. And so a lot of divers will find some urchins nearby and crush the shells and bring them over, and they come right away. It's almost like feeding the birds. They really enjoy it, and they're fun to watch and interact with. They have a very strong bite, but they're fortunately not aggressive. Fun to be with.
I imagine a lot of the stuff down there is fun to be with, and the reason why people go diving is to have those kind of experiences and seeing that marine wildlife. But these divers, in the story that Kate just did, had a very strange encounter. On today's Go Island, it is conversation with Mayor John Ruttan. Some of the things that came up on Monday night's council: coal mines underfoot, evidence of our history is coming to the surface. What do we need to know?
Well, we need to know where it's safe to walk and where it isn't really. We, the city, are working very closely with the mine branch in Victoria to try to map what areas are most at risk. And some of these old mines are starting to cave in. Some of them are 125 years old. So the Pine Street incident, where the road gave way and a huge cavity opened up, we want to ensure that we can eliminate this as much as possible. And the mines, if you go on to the city network, you'll see a series of where all these mines are. A lot of them are underwater as well, and going right out to Newcastle and Protection Island. So we need to know where the areas of greatest risk are, and we can plan how to remediate. And the province is going to support us on it. I understand they're going into cost sharing as well.
Now, I understand, Mayor Ruttan, that on the website, the report, there's frequently asked questions if people are concerned if their house is on a mine or if they're going to be building on a lot, they think there's a mine on there. They can go to that report.
Yeah, they can. It gets into a very difficult area when it comes to private residences built over them, because the city's primary responsibility at this point, recognizing that the mines were there for 125 years, are roadways and walkways and sidewalks and so on. That's our very first area to examine. If a house is built over a mine shaft, and I would suggest a number of them are, there's not a lot of inexpensive work to begin to remove the risk, but I think people can determine, and engineers can determine, how deep the mine shaft is, and if work is required to do that.
Okay, we'll come back and have more conversation with the mayor after this break. You've been watching Go Island, conversation with the mayor, and we learned that he is a diver, and he's been sharing some of his experiences. And you don't just dive around Vancouver Island, you've gone to warmer climes.
Yeah, and in Southeast Asia I've been diving around Komodo Island, where the Komodo dragons are, and in the Caribbean, a number of different locations. And tropical diving spoils you, because you don't have to have that exposure suit and the heavy weight belt and all the rest of it, you know. But, you know, you have to still remember that British Columbia in this area has some wonderful diving, particularly in the wintertime. And you can get 100-foot visibility, and it's pretty special as well.
It is. It's a great place to learn how to dive, and we've got a number of dive outfitters around town that'll take you to any one of these beautiful locations off of our coast. Well, that's been conversation with the mayor, and of course we do have another edition of Clocked, and Kate tries to stump the boys, and she's got them running around Nanaimo again. Starting this weekend on the weekend edition of Go Island, we'll begin airing the extended versions of Clocked. Catch all the action there. If you missed any episodes, they're all there too. Thanks for watching.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.